Ladies and gentlemen, you have to stop for a second and ask yourself one question. Why am I really doing this? Because if the answer is to impress someone else, to prove someone wrong, to get approval, then you're building your life on a foundation that's going to crumble. I'm telling you from experience, there is a massive difference between chasing a goal because it lights you up and chasing one because you want someone else to notice. One builds you, the other drains you. Every single day we make choices. Some are small: what to eat, when to sleep, what to wear. Others are massive: what career to pursue, whether to stay in that relationship, whether to take that risk. But if you're not aware of the reason behind your choices, you'll end up living a life that belongs to everybody else except you. That's why understanding your why is not just a nice idea, it's everything. It's the engine, it's the fuel, it's the compass. Let me be clear, doing things for approval is a habit, and it's a deeply ingrained one. We're taught from a young age to make others happy, get the gold star, make your parents proud, keep the peace, be liked. And slowly you start living for the outside world. You start shaping your behavior based on reactions. You post something online and you're immediately checking the likes. You take a job because it looks successful. You stay in a situation because it makes sense to everyone else, even if it makes zero sense to you. And that's where people lose themselves. When you understand your own why, you stop reacting and start leading. You start living intentionally. You wake up and you're not looking around for someone to clap for you. You're doing it because it means something to you. And that's where true motivation comes from. Not from someone else telling you you're great, but from you knowing you're on the right track, even when no one's watching, even when it's hard, even when no one claps. Let me give it to you straight. External validation is addictive. That little rush of praise, that pat on the back, it feels good for a second. But the problem is, when you start relying on it, you'll always need more of it to feel okay. And guess what? It's not always going to be there. People get distracted. People are inconsistent. People will forget to notice. You're setting yourself up to feel invisible. That's why the strongest thing you can do is shift your motivation inward. Do it for you. This doesn't mean you become selfish. This means you become clear. It means your energy goes toward things that matter to you. It means you're grounded in your values, and that's how you make decisions. You're not chasing approval anymore. You're chasing alignment. And that's where peace lives. That's where confidence starts to build. That's when you start to really grow, because you're not faking it anymore. You're not performing, you're living. I'll tell you something else. Life gets a whole lot simpler when you stop trying to impress everyone. When you get quiet, get honest, and ask, what do I want? What makes me proud? Not your parents, not your friends, not your followers, you. That question is where everything shifts. That question is what puts you back in the driver's seat. And the answer? It might take time to find. That's okay. Just keep asking. Keep peeling back the layers. Keep getting real with yourself. And when you find that why, your true why, you hold on to it like your life depends on it. Because in a way it does. It's what will carry you through the days when you don't feel like showing up. It's what will remind you why you started. It's what will help you tune out the noise, block the pressure, and stay focused on what really matters. So if you're chasing something right now, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for them? And if the answer isn't you, then it's time to realign. Because the most powerful, grounded, successful version of you, they do it for themselves. They know their why, and they don't need a round of applause to keep moving. They just need the truth, and that truth starts with you. The fastest way to lose sight of your own potential is to get caught in the comparison trap. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You scroll through social media, you see someone's perfect morning routine, their highlight reel of success, their flawless body, their amazing relationship, their new house, and suddenly, without even realizing it, your own life feels smaller, less impressive, less worthy. That's the trap. You measure your own value by what someone else is doing, and in doing that, you shrink. Here's what no one tells you. Comparison is natural, but it's also dangerous when it's unchecked. Our brains are wired to look around and gather information. It's how we learn. But the problem is, in today's world, the information never stops. You're constantly bombarded with other people's curated lives. You're exposed to everyone's best moments, and you start forgetting that what you're seeing isn't real. It's filtered, it's posed, it's edited, and when you hold your real life up to someone else's edited one, of course you're going to feel behind. But feeling behind is an illusion. You're not behind. You're on your own timeline. You're in your own chapter. And the sooner you realize that, the more peace you're going to feel. Because here's the truth. No amount of comparing yourself to someone else is going to bring you closer to your purpose. In fact, it does the opposite. It pulls you away from your own voice, your own path, your own growth. When you're focused on what they have, you stop appreciating what you have. You stop noticing your progress, you downplay your wins, you start to think, why bother? I'm not where they are. But that's the wrong question. The right question is, am I further than I was yesterday? That's how you measure progress. That's how you grow. Not by checking where someone else is, but by checking in with yourself. Comparison kills creativity, it kills confidence, it kills joy. You want to know why so many people feel stuck even when they're doing all the right things? Because they're not doing those things for themselves. They're doing it to keep up, to compete, to impress. And that is exhausting. That is unsustainable. You were not born to copy someone else's journey. You were born to create your own. The irony is, the more you focus on your own growth, the less you care about what anyone else is doing. You don't need to compete when you're aligned. You don't need to prove anything when you're proud of how far you've come. That's the shift. That's the power of focusing inward instead of outward. Because when you stop comparing, you start owning your journey. You start seeing your strengths. You start building from where you are, not from where someone else is. Think about it. How much time have you already wasted scrolling, watching, comparing, and doubting yourself? What if you use that same time to build something real, to invest in yourself, to move your life forward one step at a time? What if instead of asking, why don't I have what they have, you asked, what can I do today that moves me closer to my vision? That's the mindset shift that changes everything. You don't need to be the best. You need to be better than you were yesterday. That's the real competition. Not with her, not with him, not with them, just with you. Stay in your lane. Stay on your path. Cheer for others, sure, but don't use their success as a reason to doubt your own. Here's the truth. The only person you're responsible for becoming is the person you were meant to be. Not a copy, not a version that fits in, not someone who wins the approval of strangers. Just you. Fully, unapologetically, authentically you. That's your power. That's your edge. That's what makes you unstoppable. So the next time you catch yourself comparing, take a breath. Bring your focus back. Remind yourself that their path has nothing to do with your purpose. And then get back to work on yourself for yourself. Because that's where the magic happens. When you stop watching and start building. When you stop doubting and start believing. When you stop trying to be them and finally start being you. There's something powerful that happens when you start investing in yourself, Not just spending money on things that make you feel good for a moment, but truly investing in your growth, your mindset, your skills, and your healing. That kind of investment, it changes everything. It changes how you see yourself, how you make decisions, how you handle challenges, and how you show up in the world. Because when you start prioritizing you, you stop waiting for someone else to do it for you. Most people don't realize this, but you are your most valuable asset. Not your job, not your relationships, not your possessions. You. Your mind, your habits, your energy, your health, your confidence. Everything else is built on that foundation, and if you don't take the time to build it strong, everything around it starts to wobble. You want a successful career? Start with your discipline. You want a healthy relationship? Start with your self-worth. You want peace of mind? Start by learning how to manage your thoughts. It all comes back to you. The reason why so many people feel stuck is because they're waiting for something external to shift, a break, a person, an opportunity. But the truth is, the shift has to happen inside first. You can get the opportunity, but if you're not ready for it, if your mindset isn't strong, if your habits aren't in place, if your confidence isn't there, you'll sabotage it. That's why investing in yourself is the key. It prepares you for the moments you've been praying for. It turns potential into progress. Let's break it down. Investing in yourself means doing the work that most people avoid. It means waking up early to study, train, or reflect, even when no one's watching. It means choosing to read a book instead of mindlessly scrolling. It means setting boundaries, having tough conversations, and walking away from things that drain you. It means going to therapy, learning emotional intelligence, understanding your triggers and breaking cycles. It means learning new skills, asking questions, being a beginner again, and not letting pride get in the way of progress. It's not always glamorous, but it is transformational. And let's be honest, it's easier to spend money on temporary fixes, new clothes, new tech, another vacation, and sure, those things can bring joy, but if you're doing that to avoid the real work, if you're numbing instead of growing, you're just putting a fresh coat of paint on a cracked foundation. Real investment is uncomfortable. It forces you to face yourself, but that's where the growth is. That's where you level up. What happens when you invest in yourself is that you start trusting yourself more. You start showing up with more certainty. You stop looking for validation because you've already validated your own worth by the way you treat yourself. That's what builds real confidence, not empty affirmations, not fake positivity, but action, ownership, discipline. You start to think differently, and that leads to living differently. You also begin to attract differently because when you elevate your standards internally and externally, you stop settling. You stop chasing people who don't see your value. You stop saying yes to things that don't align with your purpose. You stop tolerating environments that drain your energy. And guess what? That opens space for better things to come in, better relationships, better opportunities, better results. Here's the truth. The most successful, grounded, fulfilled people you know didn't get there by accident. They built it. They showed up. They kept going when no one was clapping. They invested time, energy, and often money into becoming someone they were proud of. And you can do the same. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need to decide that you are worth the effort. So start where you are. You don't need a full plan. You just need to take one step. Read the book, sign up for the course, meditate for 10 minutes, go for the walk, journal your thoughts, cut out one toxic habit, one step, one decision, one act of commitment, and then repeat. That's how you build momentum. That's how you build a life that's solid from the inside out. Because in the end, no one else is responsible for your growth. No one else can do the work for you, but here's the good news. That also means you hold the power. You get to decide what kind of person you become. And when you start making choices from that place, from a place of self-respect, of vision, of growth, that's when everything changes. Not overnight, but over time. So do it for you, because you're worth investing in. People-pleasing is one of those habits that seems harmless on the surface, but underneath it's silently stealing your time, your energy, and your sense of self. It often starts with good intentions. You want to be liked, you want to avoid conflict, you want to make others happy, but slowly, without even realizing it, you start saying yes when you mean no. You start agreeing just to keep the peace. You put yourself last over and over again, thinking that if everyone else is okay, then maybe you'll be okay too. But here's the truth. Living to please others is a one-way ticket to burnout, resentment, and regret. The thing is, when you're constantly focused on making other people comfortable, you lose sight of what you need. You stop asking yourself what feels right, what aligns with your values, and what you actually want. Your decisions become reactive instead of intentional. You say yes to things you dread, you stretch yourself too thin, and you smile through situations that make you feel small, and eventually it catches up with you. You start to feel disconnected from who you are. You start to wonder why you're so exhausted, why you're unfulfilled, why you feel like something's missing. Because something is missing. You. People-pleasing isn't just about being nice. It's about fear. The fear of rejection, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of being seen as selfish or difficult. But let me be clear, saying no is not selfish, setting boundaries is not rude, honoring your own needs is not a flaw, it's a form of self-respect. You cannot live a life of purpose while constantly betraying your own truth just to make others happy. That's not peace, that's performance. The irony is, when you stop people-pleasing, you don't become less kind, you become more honest, more grounded, more real, because real relationships are built on authenticity, not appeasement. When you show up as your true self, flaws, boundaries, and all, you give others permission to do the same. That's where real connection lives. That's where growth happens. But you can't get there if you're too busy trying to be who everyone else wants you to be. So how do you break the cycle? It starts with self-awareness. You've got to get honest about where and why you're giving your power away. Are you constantly overcommitting? Are you afraid to say how you really feel? Do you put others' needs above your own even when it hurts you? Pay attention. Those patterns are clues. They're pointing you toward the places you've abandoned yourself. Next, you've got to get clear on your own values. What matters to you? What do you want your life to look like? Because until you know what you stand for, it's easy to get pulled in every direction. But when you're rooted in your values, decisions become clearer. It's easier to say no without guilt. It's easier to stand firm even when others push back. It's easier to protect your time and energy because you know what you're protecting it for. You also have to get comfortable with discomfort. Let's be real, breaking the people-pleasing habit is hard. It means you might disappoint someone, you might upset someone, you might not be liked by everyone. But here's the thing, not everyone is supposed to like you, and their disappointment is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to live in alignment with your truth. And yes, that will come with uncomfortable moments. But on the other side of that discomfort, freedom, peace, power. It's time to stop waiting for everyone else to be okay with your decisions. It's time to stop needing permission to take care of yourself. You're allowed to put yourself first. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to choose what's best for your mental health, your goals, your values, and if someone can't respect that, they're not your people. The moment you stop living for their approval and start living for your own alignment, everything changes. You get your energy back, you get your time back, you get yourself back, And that version of you, the one who honors their own voice, who chooses peace over performance, who stands in their truth without apology, that version of you is powerful. That version of you is unstoppable. And that version of you is the real you. So do it. Not for them, for you. Because you matter. Your needs matter. And your life is not a performance. It's a reflection of the choices you make when you finally decide to stop pleasing everyone else and start honoring yourself. You are the CEO of your life. And if you're not thinking that way yet, it's time to start. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you a roadmap and tell you exactly what to do next. That responsibility is yours. Just like a CEO makes the big decisions for their company, sets the vision, builds the systems, hires the right people, and adjusts when things go wrong, you need to start approaching your life with that same level of ownership and clarity. You are not just going through the motions. You are building something. You are building you. Most people live reactively. They wake up and let the day happen to them. They make decisions based on what's urgent instead of what's important. They follow routines that were handed to them by their parents, their jobs, or society. But when you step into that CEO mindset, you stop doing that. You start looking at your life like it's your most important project. You stop asking, what should I do today? And you start asking, what kind of life do I want to create? And what do I need to do today to build it? That kind of thinking requires vision. Every CEO has one. You need one too. You've got to take the time to get honest with yourself. What do I want? What matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of energy do I want to carry into every room I enter? These questions aren't just abstract. They are your foundation. They are what you use to guide your habits, your relationships, your time, and your decisions. Without a vision, you drift. With a vision, you move with intention. Being the CEO of your life also means you take full accountability. You don't make excuses. You don't blame other people for where you are. Does that mean everything is your fault? No, but it does mean your response is your responsibility. Life will throw curveballs, people will disappoint you, plans will fall apart. That's not failure. That's just part of it. But the question is, how are you going to respond? Are you going to stay down, or are you going to adapt and move forward? A strong CEO doesn't throw in the towel when things go wrong. They adjust, they learn, they keep building. And let's talk about your team. Just like a CEO carefully selects who they work with, you need to do the same with your life. Who's in your circle? Are they supporting your growth, or are they distracting you from it? Are you surrounded by people who challenge you to level up, or people who keep you stuck in old patterns? You've got to be intentional about your environment, because the people around you influence your mindset, your energy, and your standards more than you realize. Protect your space, audit your circle, surround yourself with people who align with the vision you're building. But it's not just about the people, it's also about the systems. A great CEO doesn't rely on motivation alone. They create systems, routines, and habits that support long-term success. You need to do the same. If you want to be more focused, what structure are you putting in place to protect your focus? If you want to be healthier, what routines are supporting your physical and mental health? If you want to grow, how are you making time for learning and reflection? You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build wisely. And here's something else to remember. Not everything will work. Some days you'll mess up, some choices won't lead where you hoped they would. That's okay. That's data. That's feedback. CEOs don't quit when the numbers dip. They pivot. They adapt. And that's exactly what you need to do in your life. Stop seeing setbacks as signs to stop. Start seeing them as lessons that sharpen your direction. Every misstep is a part of the process, as long as you keep learning. So today, start seeing yourself as the leader of your life. No more autopilot, no more waiting for permission, no more blaming the past. You've got the power to create, to change, to grow, and to lead. Take the wheel. Define the mission, build the systems, choose your team, protect your energy, show up with intention. Because your life, it's your business. And it's time you ran it like one. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's not the result of luck or talent alone or being in the right place at the right time. Success is built deliberately, consistently, and often quietly through small intentional steps taken day after day. And here's the part no one really talks about. Most of those steps are not glamorous. They're not exciting. They don't come with applause or recognition, but they are essential. Because in the end, your life is the sum of your daily habits. If you want to change your life, you've got to start by changing what you do every single day. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant results. We want the quick fix, the overnight transformation, the shortcut. But real, lasting success doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from discipline. From showing up even when you don't feel like it, from keeping promises to yourself when no one's watching, from choosing what's right over what's easy. It comes from doing the boring, unsexy, repetitive things that move you forward, inch by inch. Think about it like this. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. When you get up early and move your body, you're casting a vote for your health. When you say no to distractions and focus on your work, you're voting for your productivity. When you set boundaries, protect your energy, and make time for growth, you're voting for your future. These votes might seem small in the moment, but over time they add up. They compound, and eventually they create massive results. But here's the hard truth. Most people don't stick around long enough to see those results. They quit when it gets hard. They stop when it gets uncomfortable. They let their emotions dictate their actions. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. If you only take action when you feel motivated, you're going to live a very inconsistent life. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation disappears. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. You need to become the kind of person who follows through, who shows up for themselves, who doesn't negotiate with excuses. That means making decisions based on who you want to be, not who you feel like being in the moment. That means doing the hard thing now so you can enjoy the reward later. That means delaying gratification and trusting the process, even when it feels slow. Success also requires clarity. You can't just want more and hope it magically shows up. You need to know what you want and why you want it. That clarity fuels your discipline. When your vision is strong, it pulls you forward. So ask yourself, what are you working toward? What does success look like for you? And are your daily actions aligned with that vision? And let's not forget the importance of environment. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if your environment doesn't support your goals, you're going to struggle. Your habits are shaped by your surroundings. So if your space is chaotic, your schedule is packed with distractions, or you're surrounded by people who don't support your growth, it's going to be 10 times harder to stay disciplined. Set yourself up to win. Create a space that encourages focus. Put systems in place to keep you accountable. Choose relationships that challenge you to rise. You also need to embrace the mindset that progress is more important than perfection. You're not always going to get it right. You'll have off days. You'll make mistakes. That's normal. That's human. What matters most is that you don't let those moments become permanent detours. One bad day doesn't define you. One slip doesn't cancel your progress. What defines you is your ability to reset, refocus, and keep going. At the end of the day, the people who win in life are not the most talented, they're the most consistent. They've mastered the art of doing what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. They've built a foundation of habits that support their goals. They've learned to trust the process, and most importantly, they've decided that their dreams are worth the effort. So if you want success, start today. Start small. Pick one habit and commit to it, then build from there. Show up for yourself every day, not perfectly, but consistently. Because the truth is, success isn't something you wait for, it's something you build. One decision, one habit, one step at a time. Let's talk about comparison, because it's one of the biggest traps we fall into, and most of the time we don't even realize we're doing it. You're scrolling through your feed, seeing someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly your life feels small. Your progress feels slow, your dreams feel far away, and you start wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not there yet? That voice in your head gets louder, and before you know it, you're doubting your path, questioning your worth, and feeling like you're already behind. But let me tell you something. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, it steals your focus, and most dangerously, it steals your belief in yourself. The truth is, you're never going to feel good enough if you're constantly measuring your life against someone else's timeline. You're not meant to move at their pace. You're not meant to follow their blueprint. Your journey is yours for a reason. It's shaped by your experiences, your lessons, your challenges, and your growth. And the minute you stop honoring that, the minute you start thinking you should be somewhere else because someone else is doing it differently, is the minute you disconnect from your power. Here's the thing about success. It's not linear. It doesn't follow a straight line. And it definitely doesn't show up the same way for everyone. Some people find their purpose at 18, others at 48. Some build fast, others build slow. Some take the scenic route, some take the detour, and some fall down so many times before they finally get back up for good. None of that makes one path more valid than the other. What matters is that you're still in the game, that you're still choosing to grow, that you're still showing up for your life, even on the days when it feels hard. When you compare yourself to someone else, you're not comparing truth to truth. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their perfectly curated front cover. You're comparing your messy, real, raw journey to something that's been filtered, edited, and presented for applause. That's not a fair comparison. You have no idea what battles that person is fighting. You have no idea what they sacrificed to get there. And more importantly, you don't need to know, because their story has nothing to do with your potential. What you need to do is focus on your lane, your vision, your values, your growth, because that's where your power lives. Every time you turn your attention outward, watching what they're doing, worrying about how far ahead they are, you're pulling your energy away from where it needs to be. You. Your energy is precious. Your attention is a currency. Spend it wisely. Use it to heal. Use it to move forward. Don't waste it chasing someone else's shadow. You've got to trust your own timing. There's no rush. There's no clock counting down. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right on time for your life. Every step you're taking, even the ones that feel small or invisible, are preparing you for what's next. Every delay, every setback, every moment of frustration is sharpening you, teaching you, building something in you that you're going to need when the moment arrives. You are being equipped right now for what you asked for. So don't resent the process, respect it. Instead of comparing, get curious. Instead of asking, why not me? Ask, what can I learn here? What's my next best step? Flip the focus back to what you can control. Because you can't control someone else's journey, but you can control how you show up in yours. You can choose gratitude over envy. You can choose discipline over distraction. You can choose to keep moving even when no one's watching. At the end of the day, the only person you need to compete with is the version of you from yesterday. Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you becoming more aligned, more honest, more empowered? That's the measure. That's the progress that matters. Everything else is noise. So stop scrolling, stop comparing, start building, start trusting, start owning your story without apology. Because your journey, it's not supposed to look like anyone else's. It's supposed to look like yours. And that's exactly what makes it powerful. When you start focusing on yourself, truly focusing, you begin to realize that most of the limits you thought existed were never real. They were built from other people's opinions, society's expectations, and the fears you picked up along the way. But once you turn your attention inward and commit to your own path, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission. You stop explaining your choices. You stop living for approval. And in that space where it's just you and your truth, you discover something powerful. You are more capable, more resilient, and more worthy than you ever gave yourself credit for. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means being self-aware. It means waking up to your own needs, desires, and goals. It means asking, what do I want? What matters to me? What am I willing to work for? Not because they expect it, but because it aligns with who I am. That kind of clarity builds confidence. Because when you're aligned with your values, you stop second-guessing. You start moving with purpose. You stop reacting to noise and start responding with intention. Most people never do this. Most people are so wrapped up in trying to keep up, trying to impress, trying to be accepted, that they forget to even ask, who am I doing this for? They chase success because it looks good on paper. They follow trends because they don't want to stand out. They shrink their dreams to fit into someone else's comfort zone. But none of that feels fulfilling. It feels exhausting because no matter how much you do for others, if you're not honoring yourself in the process, you're going to burn out. You're going to feel empty. You're going to wake up one day and wonder why you don't recognize the life you're living. So what if you flip the script? What if you stopped trying to be everything for everyone else and started being something for you? That's where real peace comes from. That's where real power is built. It's in the quiet moments where you choose yourself, where you say no to what drains you and yes to what grows you, where you stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. It's in those moments that you begin to own your life instead of performing it. When you do things for yourself, not to prove, not to impress, but because they genuinely matter to you, you begin to feel free. You stop living in fear of judgment. You stop being controlled by comparison. You stop needing validation because you've already given it to yourself. That internal approval, it's unshakable, and no one can take it from you. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Choosing yourself often means going against the grain. It means setting boundaries people won't like. It means making decisions others won't understand. It means walking away from things that used to define you but no longer serve you. That's hard. But you know what's harder? Living your whole life in a box built by other people's opinions. That's the real sacrifice. That's the real pain. Betraying yourself to belong somewhere you were never meant to fit in. You don't need a million people clapping for you. You need you to believe in what you're doing. Because once you do, you become unstoppable. You stop hesitating. You start showing up differently. You move with conviction. You trust your voice. And that version of you, that version doesn't need to fake it. That version doesn't need to prove anything. That version is rooted, clear, focused. So yes, focus on yourself. Heal what needs to be healed. Learn what needs to be learned. Grow into who you're meant to be, not because anyone else asked you to, not because someone else is watching, but